For Hype Plus, it's your boy K-Rob. Black people has been some of the biggest creators of modern revolutionary concepts and inventions, and are responsible for some of the most important societal and cultural movements that have occurred since the beginning of America. Due to oppression, black people were not allowed to patent, copyright, and own their ideas or inventions. This led to the phenomenon of several ideas and patents being stolen and credited to someone else, and that someone is usually white. The legacy of slavery, racism, and Jim Crow ensured the continued theft of intellectual property, and is still something hotly contested to this very day. Fighting for what is rightfully ours is a major part of the black experience here in America. This is something that continues to happen to this day. What if you found out the true mastermind behind the billion-dollar franchises like The Matrix and The Terminator was a black woman? Of course, due to history. Would that be shocking? No. Meet Sophia Stewart, a writer, author, and poet, who filed a lawsuit against 20th Century Fox and Warner Brothers for stealing her ideas for The Matrix and The Terminator. Stewart knew that the black ownership and liberation were key, and it was something that was missing in the industry. Stewart did everything in her power to fight for it, and this is a story you should know. Sophia Stewart is an African-American writer, author, and poet. She worked for years honing her craft using film treatments and scripts as her writing avenues of choice. In 1981, she curated and created a film package of scripts, treatments, character analysis, and storyboards, and entitled it The Third Eye. The third eye reference, of course, is famous to many of us as a metaphor used to describe a new stream of human consciousness one has discovered, and this was the intended meaning of Stewart's work as well. According to Bong Minds Entertainment, a music media platform, Sophia decoded many of the meanings used in the treatment and highlighted the connection between the actual meaning of the word Matrix and how many of the themes and sentiments used in the Matrix and Terminator franchises originated from ancient Kemet ideologies. After writing her piece, Stewart claims she submitted the source work of Third Eye to 20th Century Fox in 1981, but would never hear back for her effort. 5 years later, in 1986, she claimed the Wachowski brothers were looking for a science fiction script to turn into a comic book. Sophia claimed for a second time she submitted her work, but once again, not hear back from anyone. She would go on to forget about it and move on with her life. In 1999, Sophia officially filed her first complaint for copyright infringement after viewing The Matrix and Terminator films for the first time. She filed her complaint the same year The Matrix was released, but 15 years later after The Terminator came out. Stewart claimed that her treatments and source material had been used by the studios without her being properly credited or compensated. Subsequent to her claims, she called Warner Brothers' legal department to air her grievances. According to sources, it said that she was offered $5 to $7 million in a settlement, but she declined, presumably based on the fact that she knew the franchise's highest value, possibly in the billions. Refusing to be shortchanged about the work she felt was hers, Stewart officially filed her $1 billion copyright infringement lawsuit in 2003 against the Wachowski brothers, the director James Cameron, producers Joe Silver, Gail Ann Hurd, and 20th Century Fox. As it goes, there was multiple cases filed on the same issue because of legal activity on the part of Sophia's supposed legal team the first time around. To her surprise, her legal team was actually in cahoots with the same entity that she was suing. A quote from Interena coming from Sophia states, "The FBI told me California has the most corrupted judges and lawyers. They told me to file in Utah. In November 2006, I got a call from the Illuminati. They called and told me that I was going to have another court case and win it. I was going to go on and play a major role in royal events. Right after that, I got a call from the Masons, and the Masons tell me that I'm going to have a visitor as soon as Prince Charles and his wife touched American soil. My visitor was Governor Schwarzenegger, who owns 5% of the Terminator. He offered me $5 million. Sophia once again rejected the offer to be paid off with hush money and continued to pursue official copyrights of the franchises. The FBI would end up conducting and investigating into the activity surrounding the work of Stewart upon its alleged initial submission. It has been reported that they discovered that the film had been edited and altered to a minimum extent, presumably in order to escape the charges that Stewart was pursuing. In this moment, it will be confirmed to most that the studio basically stole Stewart's intellectual property, the entire point of her fight. Additionally, Stewart's claims were given more credibility by other very reliable sources within the studio network, who claimed her work was used in various pre-production meetings as a guide and template for The Matrix and the Terminator films. Now, even with this being out there, in a section of diehard Matrix and Terminator fans do not believe Sophia has a case, and there are areas of the media that supports this view. The doubt allegedly comes from the fact that her story received no national media coverage at the time of its initial undertaking, which was highly puzzling to diehard Matrix and Terminator fans if her claims were indeed true. It also comes from the timing. Many question why she didn't make these claims as soon as Terminator was released. She said she was unaware of the original release of the 1984 Terminator due to other life occurrences, but would later theorize the film was inspired by her work when she watched it. Sophia has heard these assertions and has been unbothered by the accusations of dishonesty and delusion. She even provided her own theorization as to why her story wasn't heavily publicized. The reason you have not seen any of this in media is because Warner Brothers' parent company is AOL Time Warner. This giant owns 95% of the media. Let me give you a clue as what they own in this media business. New York Times paper/magazine, LA Times paper/magazine, People Magazine, CNN News, Extra, Celebrity Justice, Entertainment Tonight, New Line Cinema, DreamWorks, Newsweek, Village Roadshow, and many, many more. They're not going to report on themselves. They have been suppressing my case for years. None of Stewart's claims would come without backlash. As the Wachowski said, they did not put out an ad that Stewart claimed in 1986. In an article written by Black Enterprise, they claimed that there was no sufficient evidence to prove that Stewart sent any material in 1986. The article also goes on to debunk the original claims that Stewart won her case with the following quote: "Sophia Stewart did not win her lawsuit against the creators of The Matrix and Terminator. In June 2005, Sophia's case was dismissed by Judge Margaret Morrow of the Central District Court of California in a 53-page ruling. Judge Margaret Morrow stated that no evidence was provided that the creator of The Matrix or Terminator stole any story ideas from Sophia. This claim is accurate as she did not win the case at the moment, but won the right to continue with the case after the defense tried to have it dismissed. Additionally, this article claims there wasn't any evidence that Sophia had any communication with the creators of Terminator during its original concept. The skepticism nor the case dismissal deterred Sophia as she continued with the legal fight for what she believed was her work. Sophia would later file RICO/infringement charges. In another statement from the article from Bong Minds Entertainment, a media company located in New York, Stewart claimed that Warner Brothers tried to pay her off once again because neither the Wachowski brothers, Gail Ann Hurd, or James Cameron had any copyright ownership of the film. She also claimed they all admitted to using her work as a source material when she spoke to Judge Morrow. Interesting enough, according to the aforementioned article by Eterna.com, in September 2014, Stewart was accredited and affirmed by Magistrate Judge Evelyn Force and Presiding Federal Judge D. Benson. The article states they ruled as a statement of fact that Sophia Stewart is the true owner of both the Matrix and Terminator franchise, and that the defendants had prior access to her work in the California case. Both judges found that the defendants were guilty of breach of contract, breach of fiduciary duties, and malpractice, and ordered them to pay Ms. Stewart $316,280.62 in attorney fees. The judge's rulings are final and cannot be appealed by the defendants. In addition to the attorney fees, there are $3.5 billion in uncontested loans against Warner Brothers, Fox, the Wachowski brothers, and other defendants filed on record in the Utah federal court. Sophia Stewart is the sole legal owner of the Matrix and Terminator franchise. As the sole legal owner, she is free to negotiate the development, production, distribution, publishing, licensing, and sale and marketing of any and all intellectual property related to the Matrix and Terminator franchises, including all derivative products and services. So based on the information given here, it will be debunked that the narrative told by some that Sophia had not been sufficiently compensated by any governing measure. The debated point seems to be what was compensated with. Obviously, if she was truly worth billions of dollars, she would be well known to the community and world as one of the richest African Americans on the planet. Now at this time, it seems her exact compensation and net worth in total has not been entered into public discourse. The story of Sophia Stewart is one that gets a lot of reactions from not only passionate fans of the Terminator and the Matrix, but from community at large. Stewart remained very passionate on Black liberation in forms of rightfully owning what's ours and emphasizing how important it is that we own our businesses and culture. From the aforementioned interview article from Bong Minds Entertainment, she states, "My work inspired people to vote for President Obama, and his victory gave us Black people pride around the globe. So black ownership is extremely important to me because Motown sold out, Essence sold out, when Russell Simmons sold his company, Def Jam Recordings sold out, and BET sold out. This is wrong because there should be black ownership in America. We shouldn't allow others to come in and buy us out. Because someone buys out a black company or corporation, they're actually getting the black consumer dollar. When we had segregation, we were multi-millionaires. We were the ones who came out with Wall Street. Black Wall Street, we called it. But all of that was taken away from us because some people invented integration. Due to the common social phenom of African Americans having their work stolen from them, it makes Sophia Stewart's claim very believable. However, it should be noted that each situation is different, and that it is possible that this could be a case of mistake on the part of Sophia Stewart and her supporters. Despite the hurdles she faced in her journey for justice, she showed a great amount of courage and did receive the results she desired from her efforts. The legal and social recognition as the creator and the conceptualist behind The Matrix and Terminator. As mentioned earlier, constantly fighting for the legal rights of our work and our rights as humans is a huge part of African American experience. And due to her persistence, for better or for worse, inaccurate or accurate, Sophia Stewart's creative genius, legacy, and contributions will be remembered as a huge part to the universally acclaimed franchises, The Matrix and The Terminator. For Comedy Hype News, it's been your boy K-Rob.